everybody, welcome back to my channel and a big welcome to those of you that are new here. Today I'm going to be making a banner for you to show you my full process from designing through to making for all of the banners and garlands that I sell on Etsy and in our own shop. I go through a whole process to do that, and all of my banners and garlands are made from elements from Cricut Design Space and my subscription with access there. And this is the banner that I'm going to make in today's video. It is a Halloween themed garland with Dracula, and it's got bats on some of the pennants as well. So I'm going to go through how to make this banner and what I do in real time, so there's nothing sped up. You won't have to worry about me going too fast. You'll be able to see exactly as I'm doing it. So without any further ado, let's get started. Alright then, so we start off with a blank canvas just in Cricut Design Space, and what I like to normally do first of all is just decide on what sort of shape of pennant I'm going to do. And what I've been doing recently is making a basic pennant, and then I've been adding all the little bits and embellishments and stuff onto it over the top. So I'm going to show you a graduation banner that I've made recently, and that showcases that pretty well. So let's have a quick look for that. This is going to be a pretty long video, so I would suggest that you get yourselves something to drink and settle down nice and cozy, put your candle on and enjoy. So this is the one, let's just replace that. This is the one that I have been making recently. And all this is just a basic pennant with some holes in it for the ribbon or the twine or whatever it is you're going to use. And then what I did was put the scrolls and the caps on there. What you can see here is actually the print then cut front of it. So let's get the actual banner back. Alright, so this is my, I'm missing my C, but it's here somewhere. I don't know where it is. There it is, C. Okay, so let's just shrink that down a little touch so we can see what we're doing. Let's move that. That's the packaging front, just there. Let's just select everything and bring it down. And what I do is I cut everything like this individually, but then these pieces here, so let's just ungroup those little caps here and those scrolls. When this banner is made, what I do is I just pull these onto here and I glue them over the top there, and then that one goes this side and then that one goes here, and you can see how that works. It's pretty good, and it just is a really good and easy way of accessorizing your actual banners and stuff and your decor without having to sort of go over the top and making it more complicated for yourself. One of the things, especially if you're selling them on Etsy or whatever, you need to make them quickly, because otherwise it's not really cost effective. You can't charge somebody you know, a pretty decent price for a banner and then it's going to take you 3 days to put it together. It's just not cost effective thing. So let's go on to new. We're going to save that again. I thought I had, but never mind. Okay, there we go, new project. So let's have a look in the shapes menu. There are a few pennants in here that you can use. You've got your basic one here, you've got this here which you could also turn into one. It is a ribbon, but it does work as a pennant. The other thing I do is just go into images and I just search pennant. So there's loads of different ones that you can use here. If you just want to make it nice and simple, I'd go with something like this. The other one that I like to use is that one. It has little slots in the top of it, but I normally switch those out for circles because it's just easier for threading quickly. The other banner shape that I really like is this one. I'm sure there's one of those. Oh, this is the one I've used before, and then I've just used one layer of it. So it's up to you which one you want to use. So I have put both of them. I'm going to use this one today. So let's get rid of all of these because I'm not sure which one it is on there. And then click on add to canvas. We'll start off with this as our blank. I will show you how to put the circles in as well, and how to get rid of those little slots. So Cricut Design Space, this image code is this one, hashtag M42044 will get you this one. It is a free design, so you can use that if you don't have an Access subscription as well. So first things first then, if we just click on it and then go to contour, just to get rid of those two slots. You can either click on them on here, you can click on them on here, or you can just click on hide all contours, because we want to get rid of both of those. So that just gives us a blank canvas now here for this. The next thing to work on is your sizing. So ordinarily when I'm making a banner, I like to try and get as many pennants out of a sheet of A4 paper as I possibly can. So for this one, what I normally would do is just stretch that out. So I know sheet of A4 is 21 centimeters across, but I don't want them to be too long that way as well. So what I normally do is just unlock my padlock at the top here, and then I'll just shrink that down so it's about 9 by 10ish is good. And then what I like to do is go on to make it before I've even put anything on it at all, and I'll just put that up to 4, then apply that, and then I'll change my material size to A4, and I'm just going to check that they fit, and that fits perfectly on there, which is great. So I could probably make them a touch bigger as well, but I just want to make sure that I'm using my sheets of card to their full capacity really, and not wasting any material. So the next thing that I normally do is get my circles cut out in the corners here for the ribbons to go through. So it's really simple to do. Just grab yourself a circle from the shapes menu, just shrink that down really small, a lot smaller than what you expect it to be. So about 4.5 millimeters there or thereabouts usually works brilliantly. I put that in the one corner and duplicate it. Then pop that one in that corner. I need to make sure that they are a decent way in, because I want them to be far enough from the edges here that they're not going to be flimsy when it's cut. We don't want it to tear really easily. Then what you want to do is select both of those layers on the right hand side, and then come up to align, and you want to align them either to the top or the bottom, it doesn't matter which way you do it. So those are both the same now. Again, now select both of those layers, and we want to weld them together. This then effectively makes those two layers into one layer, so that allows us now to click on select all, and you can see slice has become available. We just click on slice, get that sliced out, and move that out of the way. We've got our holes, we can delete those, we don't need them anymore. So that is our basic pennant design there, ready to go through to making. But what I normally do is just leave one of those over here out the way, and then I'll start working on the wording that I want. So I'm going to just have this as Halloween, and I know which font I'm going to, oops, don't want to do that. Oh, lost my N. Where's my N gone? No, there we go. Alright, so it doesn't matter that it's on 2 lines, but if you know you want to, you can put it back on 1. So I know which font I'm going to use. Let's go into fonts, and it is going to be, why is it halfway down? Swampy Monster. So BFC Swampy Monster is a Cricut font. It's a nice sort of drippy looking font, which is great. I'm thinking I'm going to go red and black with this rather than the standard orange. So let's put this pennant into black actually. Perfect. Is that black? It looks great, doesn't it? Now it's black. Okay. Or shall we do it red? Let's do it red. See, this is why this video is going to take a while, because I'm thinking as I'm going. Let's make that black. Perfect. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just shrink this down. How many letters is there in Halloween? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we want 9 pennants. So let's duplicate it 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to just put these side by side. Those ones there, and then what I like to do is get my word and I'll just shrink that down in the box there so that the box is sort of hugging the word, and then I like to just use the drag handle to make it bigger, and I'll just make it bigger by stretching it. And the reason that I just make it bigger by stretching it is so that I can then, let's just bring it to the front, I can just pop it over the top. Bring to the front never works from that right hand click. So now I can just check the sizing of that against what I've got, which that looks pretty good to me. It's going to fit each letter on there. So what I can do, that is font size 258.84. But it's better if you just stretch that out depending on what size of pennant you're using for your own design. Once I've got my basic design laid out for my banner, what I want to do next is find the images that I'm going to put onto it. And I wanted to do this as like a Dracula sort of bat theme. So I've typed in Dracula up here, and I really love him, but he's literally about 15 layers. It's going to be so time consuming to make that. If you were making that to sell, it's just going to be zero profit by the time you've made it. Unless you're making it for yourself or whatever, I would steer away from anything that has got multiple layers like that. He's pretty cute. We could do that. We could add some offsets to it. So let's click on him and keep him as an option. And another one that we've got is like this cute one here. He's quite nice. He's going to be relatively simple to do. And I like him as well, but I'm going to just keep that one for now that I've got at the top. And as you can see, because I've clicked on it, it's gone down the bottom there. Let's type in bat. Ooh, spacebar. Bat. There's a lot more design options for bats as well, so we could do a moon actually as well and a bat. That's pretty cool. Again, it sort of depends how complicated you want it to be. If it's for yourself, it's obviously, you know, make it as complicated as you like. But if not, I like this one because I like his little face. So I'm going to click on that. That one's cute if it's for little kids because it's got the little flower on it. He looks nice as well with his little smile, doesn't he? Let's go for those for now. So we're just going to add those onto the canvas. So there they are, they're both coming pretty big. What I'm going to do is just click on those and I'll just pull them in here. Now because my zoom has reverted back to 100%, so my banner is around somewhere on here. If I put that back down to 20, you'll see it's there. But if I go back up to 100, it gives us the opportunity to work on these two items on their own. So I'm going to just pull that down to being about 8 centimeters wide by 13. So this, I think, because of the size of it, if I pull that down to here, it's going to make a really great additional pennant. So I'm going to do that as a totally separate pennant, which will work brilliantly. So what I'm going to do is I am going to give that an offset. So just select it. Let's give it an offset of 0.5 centimeters, which is 5 millimeters. Let's apply that, and I'm going to make it red, and then I'll show you how to get rid of this gap, because when you use offset on something like this that's got quite a big gap between it, it will automatically cut out that center. So if I click on him and just move him out of the way, and then we've got this offset, just go back into contour again like we did to get rid of those little slits in the pennants. Just click on that, and you can just click off it, you don't even need to click on that star at the top. And then you can pop that back on there. That looks fabulous. All right then, let's just center that so it's right. Perfect. And what we want to do now is group that together. You can also get it to cut the holes in that layer for you if you want it to, but I'm not going to do that on this occasion. I'm going to leave it as it is. I am then going to give this bat a little bit of an offset as well. So let's make him black, or should we make him red and give him a black offset? Let's see what he looks like that way around. So he's about the right size because he's going to go on these pennants, I think. So let's offset him. I don't want his offset to be that big, so I'm going to make it 0.3 and apply that onto there. There we go. That looks pretty good. Let's group it and then just reduce that zoom down a touch again. And then what I'm going to do is duplicate this. Let's just move everything over a little bit because we're encroaching on the layers panel now. That's going to go there. This we're going to turn it so we could put them on there. Duplicate that. I'm going to just flip it that way so it's the same angle. So he could go up the top on there. It doesn't even matter when you do this, if when you put it together it sort of overlaps onto your lettering as well. I think it gives it that really like cool look to it. Let's go now onto images again and just see if there's anything else that we could put with it. I spend so long just scrolling through images here, and fonts as well. They just take so long to choose. He's nice, isn't he? I like him. Like a Dracula bat, he's good. He'd make a really good pennant as well. Oh, I like him, he's cute. See, I don't know why there's a cat in here. Oh, he's so cute, I like him. Might have to make some other decor as well. That's no good. Let's type in Halloween. Oh, I like the idea of having a spider hanging. That's a good one. Let's do that. He's my favourite spider, and I'm going to be showing you how to make a small garland using him a bit nearer to Halloween. There we go, look, he's hanging, he's nice. Let's click on him because he's kind of cute but not too scary. So I think these ones are a bit scary, especially if it's for a children's party or whatever that you're making it for. Oh, they're good, aren't they? I like those, really, really good. Might struggle to cut those though because they look quite intricate. That's the other thing as well, when you're choosing your images, as well as not getting too many layers, don't pick anything that's going to be too intricate to cut, because if your machine struggles to cut that, it's going to take you so much more time because you're going to end up doing multiple cuts to just achieve one layer, and then it's not really worth, again, I like him, it's not really worth then what you want to charge for it, which is a shame. Let's add those both to the canvas. Again, my zoom has reverted to the 100. Let's pull them down here and just click off them so we can. So I don't know whether these really go with this theme. I don't think they do, so I'm not going to put them on in the end. This is what I do. This is exactly my design process right now that you're seeing. So like I'll think of something, I'll think, oh yeah, I really like it, and then actually no, I don't, because it doesn't work with my theme. Let's make this now and see how we get on putting it all together and how long it actually takes. Probably going to do this video as a real-time video, so you're going to see exactly how long it takes to make this and put it together. Before I make it, I'm going to save it, because if I don't and I lose it, I'm going to be really annoyed. So Dracula, Garland, and I always save everything to themes because that's what I do. Alright, you can see here, I'm just going to show you this. With this Dracula here, he's got quite a lot of layers here. Now that may make an issue when we come to putting it together. So what I'm going to do is just ungroup that actually. And I'm going to pull him over, and I'm going to just get that. I'm going to zoom in so I can look at him. I don't know why they're all cut in as separate layers. I'm going to weld it and see what that comes out like. Yeah, that's better. So I don't know why that was doing that, because they're all the same colours, but it may make an issue when we come to transferring it. But what I'll do is use transfer tape to actually transfer that over. Let's just go over to the other one here, and we're going to just do exactly the same as we did with the other one. Ungroup it, pull him off there, and then just weld that together. So the bats and everything are the same. It's fine. Okay, right then, let's click on make it and see what happens next. My Cricut's not on. Let's turn that on. Excellent. Right, so here we go. As I said at the start, I like to use A4 sized card and paper, so I'm going to be able to fit quite a lot on here. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of manual nesting on here, and this is something that really annoys me about my Cricut machine, because I can probably fit this onto there if I faff about a little bit with it. I mean, like, why is that one just there? Let's move it up here. I hate the way that we have to do this with Cricut, and this is one of the things that I spend so much time moving things around manually on the mats. Okay, so let's get that A here. I'm going to be able to get that N on there as well, I think. So I'm just going to move that along. I just really want to maximise my material usage here, and making sure that I can fit everything in. I'm not going to be able to get the other bat on here, but I will be able to just put a scrap piece of card on my mat to make him. Then I've got these. Now you do have to go through and change your material size for each colour, so they are pretty good. They are going to be big, I think. 15 centimetres. Yeah, but I think they're going to be really effective at that size. If they were smaller, they're going to be too small. Then we've got our little bats. I mean, like, there's a bat there, and then they've put a bat here as well. Why? Why not put that on the same mat as that one? Because it's just ridiculous. We can get him in there, look, and just use that full sheet of card rather than having a little bottom piece that isn't used. In Silhouette Studio, if you use a silhouette, they actually do make full natural nesting themselves, so that the machine does it, and it just makes life so much easier. Alright, so that is done. I'm going to click on continue. My machine is on, and then let me grab some mats and we'll get that set up on here. This is from a project that I did yesterday. Naughty of me to leave it on the mat. This mat is so not sticky, actually. Oh dear, what's this one like? This is naughty, I shouldn't show you this, should I? This is all my mats that I've done stuff on over the weekend and then I haven't actually used them. Okay, so there are the 3 mats I'm going to use. So we're starting off with black. Let's just grab some black card. Here's a sheet of black card and I'm just going to pop that down on the mat. Let's just use the brayer. Okay, that's done. I'm going to choose medium cardstock as my material. I've done that on the screen just so that you know, and then I'm going to pop this in the machine to cut that now. I'll come back to you once I've cut everything. In fact, I'm going to just cut everything out and then I'll come back to you because I think it's going to be easier then just to assemble everything with you rather than showing you every single mat going into the machine and coming back out. Alright then, so this is the first mat that we've done, and as you can see we've lost a couple of bits on it. I'm just going to take away the majority of the excess card like this, and then what I'm going to have to do is take out the pieces of his face that I don't want, and then what I'll do is use some transfer paper just to get that off there to allow me to transfer it over to the other things. So what I'm going to do is cancel this on my screen. Let me just put screen record back on. Right, so I'm going to cancel this, and the reason I'm going to cancel it is because I want to change my materials over, because I'm going to use some really nice foil red for this, and I want to make sure that these are foil red and these are just normal, so I just need to move them around a touch. So if I move this one onto mat number 5 like that, and then I can just put that there, and then I want to move those bats back then onto mat number 3. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Just checking that. Let's move that onto mat 3 there, and then he needs to go on to mat 3 as well, but I'm going to hide that particular one, so I will need to do an extra red. This is like the creative process of this. I'm going to turn him round a touch and give him a flip over, and that just makes it so that now I can nest those up really close together, and then they're going to cut, and I'll have that whole bottom piece of the card to use again. I do need one more pennant, but that's okay, I'll be able to cut that out of a scrap piece. Alright, let's carry on with the cutting, and I'm going to show you then, well, I'm going to show you first how to do this actually. So let's just cancel that. Okay, right, I'm going to show you how to do this first. So what I want to do is just have a quick look at my man on here, and I'm going to see which pieces need to come out. Yeah, okay, so I need to take out this part. Oh my giddy aunt. Right, that's perfect. And then I want to take out this piece. So if I can find his tooth, which is somewhere on my machine, it's going to work better. I'll take that out. Take that out. This weeding tool is very, very sharp. This mat is not very sticky. Okay, let's take that out. So we're just missing a tooth, which I think I'll find in my machine if I have a quick look for that. I'm going to now take out the other one, and you'll see this one cut perfectly well, but I don't know why the other one had a bit of a problem. And that's what I'm saying about making it cost effective if you're making these to sell, because honestly, if you were to spend the time recutting one of your Draculas, it's going to take, you know, it's going to take out that time. I've lost some ears there, so I'm going to find those again. I told you that I'd missed out his ears, didn't I? And I didn't need to. Okay, I'm just popping them back on here. Here's his other one. His ear back on. Okay, right. So we can take off all of the lettering because we don't need that to be left on the mat. So let's just remove all of these. Take that bat off as well because we're not going to need that. These are the L's. I think I said that was a 1 earlier. Right, so, oh, we need to take out that cross as well. Okay, so now we've got all our pieces that we need to one side, and then we've got these as well. I'll have a look for that tooth in a moment when I start using the Cricut again. What I'm going to get is a piece of my paper transfer paper, and what I'm going to do is I am going to, this is the sticky side that I've got up here, and what I'm going to do is just cut that across there and then up there. So now I've got a rectangular piece of transfer paper. That back on my shelf. Right, that's back on my shelf. Okay. Now, okay, so what I'm going to do now is just pop that face down. So the sticky side is now down on my mat. And I'm just going to smooth that out with my fingers. Then I'm going to grab, this is a soft squeegee as opposed to using one of the Cricut ones which are rigid. So it doesn't look that soft to you probably on the camera, but it actually is pretty soft. Let's just do that. Give it a good old scrape. It's covered in bits of adhesive off of vinyl. I'm now going to just carefully cut down the centre of those two decals that are under there. I'm going to move my lettering out of the way because I don't want to end up sticking that back onto the mat or losing it. I'm ever so good at losing individual letters when I'm making a banner, and then I end up having to recut anyway. I'm just going to turn my mat over. Now you can see that that has stuck perfectly well to my transfer paper. This transfer paper is low tack. If you haven't seen the video about this, I'll link that down below for you. I'm just going to pop those to one side. So now I can carry on with my cut. So I'm going to go back through to make it and redo all that cut, and then I'll bring this back to you when I'm ready with everything done. These are the bats then, and the coffins. So let's get them off. I decided to use this really shiny red foil for this because I thought it would look lovely, and then I've got my little bats done in the same colour as well because I think they'll look great against the black. Because I've got all these little bits that have sort of self-weeded themselves and stuck themselves onto the mat, so I can just use my little scraper thingy to get rid of all of those, which is brill. So I'm going to start cutting the pennants now. These will probably take about 15 minutes to cut. This took about 1.5 minutes, so it's not too long. I would reckon that probably the whole cutting process takes about 25 to 30 minutes altogether, and that is really just because you are prepping the mats and sticking them in individually. I do have multiple machines, and I could probably run them separately to do the red on the top machine and the black on the bottom machine, but for ease of doing the video and stuff, I've just decided to do it all on one machine today. while the machine is cutting one mat, what I do is just get my next mat prepped and get everything popped on there, so that I can literally just eject a mat and just put another mat in. So this is a real time saver, especially if you're making to sell. Again, if you get your mats prepped and ready to go one at a time and just literally throw them in when your one's finished, it does save so much time when you're cutting. Here is the last mat then, so I'm just going to get this off. Got all my pennants there ready done. So because I need 9 pennants for the word Halloween, I would have needed to cut a single sheet with just 1 pennant on it, but because obviously I'm all about making sure that I use as much of a sheet of card as I can, what I decided to do was just cut an extra 3, and then I can just keep those to one side. I've got a little pile at the moment of pennants here that are spare, and I'll just pop those into that spares pot, and then that will just make it so that I've got a couple of extras. So for the next one of these I make, I'll have to make 3 less, which is pretty good. So here are the pieces that we've got then. So we've got 2 coffins, 2 bats, all of our lettering, and oh, I've missed out bat, so I'll cut that in a second. Another black bat, and then you've got your little pieces for Dracula. Now I found his tooth, but it was a bit mangled and not quite cut right, so what I'm going to do is just take that off there and just manually cut one of those. It's not going to be too difficult to do. I'm just going to go back to my design on the screen. You don't really need to see this bit, to be honest with you, because I'm just going to recut another one of my bat offsets because I forgot to do that. So let's just let's just make him blue so that I can just cut one. So in order to make my one black bat, I've just made it blue on the screen, and then that will just create a layer of its own. Just get this mat cleaned off. We can use this. This mat is absolutely disgusting. It's so filthy, because I've actually used some basting spray to re-stick this mat. I'm going to do a video actually on that and show you what I do to do that. Let's just cut him out. While he's cutting, we can start putting together. So what we're going to want to do, okay, that's going. So what I'm going to do is start off with these, because these are the most sort of interesting bit really of this project. So what I'm going to do is just get one. I'm going to get our coffin here, and then what I'm going to do is just pop that onto there. Just get my sizing right so I know roughly where it's going to go. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is get my glue in its little fine needle pointed container, and I'm just going to glue all of this. And what I want to do is go all the way over it, and I will make sure that this goes a little bit tacky, so I'll leave this glue to go off a little bit whilst I apply the glue to the other one. And then when I'm applying this one onto the paper, well, onto the red foil paper card stuff, the other one will be also going a little bit tacky. So that is done. Let's just move him to one side. We'll get this one. I haven't forgotten about his missing tooth. Don't worry, I'll sort that out in a minute. This glue is Collal glue. It's one of my favourites, and the reason that I like it is because it doesn't leave a wet mark through the other side of the card. I found with a lot of PVAs and tacky glues that if I were to do this pattern like I'm doing now with the glue on here, when I stuck it on, it was actually going to give it a real pattern on the other side, and you can see exactly where the glue is, but you don't get that with this particular glue. I will link it down below for you. I'll get it off Amazon. I usually buy an absolute gigantic bottle of it. So now I've got my glue on here, I am going to just place my little guy on here, and what you can do is just peel back your transfer paper a little bit. Now, going back to the transfer paper and what type it is, I wouldn't recommend doing this with anything other than a low tack transfer paper, because this is what I use on balloons and things, and it does no damage whatsoever to the card or balloon or whatever it is that you're using it on. So that has gone onto there absolutely flawlessly. Now if I were, it's pulled off a little bit, that's fine. If I were to place all these pieces individually, it's going to take me so long to do. And again, we're all about cost effectiveness, especially if we're selling for profits as well. So let's just pull that bottom bit up so we can see where it's going. Make sure it's nice and straight on there again, and then we can just press it down, and then we can just pull back the transfer paper whilst he's, oh, I've forgotten to glue his ear, look at that, that's naughty, isn't it? Oh, and his tooth isn't stuck either because I forgot to do that. If you go over, it doesn't matter as well, because you are going to put it down on your piece of card using your transfer paper, so it's not going to hurt it. I'm going to just manually place his tooth, and then let's put his little ear on. Okay, let's pull that up. There we go, they're done. Just put that to one side. Next we've got a bat, and we don't need to worry too much about the bat placement. We don't need to use any transfer paper. Just stick him on, he looks good. The cut's finished of the other one as well, so I'm going to be able to just pop that on in a second. He's so cute. He's on there. Let's just get this mat off. Here it is. Okay, there we go. Another bat. Oop, missed a bit. Careful with the glue. Gonna make his little tooth as well to go on Dracula. Stick that onto there. And all right. Now you can see what I mean about that glue now. If I was using a PVA, you'd probably be able to see exactly where I'd put it, but this glue doesn't show that up at all. I've got a little bit of a lift on the card in that section. That's a shame, but it's not too bad, so I'm not too upset about that. Next we've got our pennants to do, so those are the bits just going to dry whilst we apply the lettering. I like to look at my design while I'm doing it to make sure I get everything the right way up. So I just get it up on the screen just to allow me to see it. Okay, so we want to pop these on here. And I don't really measure where I put everything, I just put it on, and I don't even do them in order. So I don't spell it out like I would in an order at all. I just put them on. I tend to use this point as the centre point, obviously, and that just allows me to see roughly where they've got to go. I do try to keep them straight, so if I keep picking them up and rearranging them, that's why. Just want to get that on there. obviously once you've made it like the first time, it does get quicker to do as well, because you know what you're doing with it and you've got your design set up on your screen, so you haven't got to go through the whole sort of designing process or anything like that again. So it does make it a little bit easier. You might have seen me looking at that W then and wondering which way around it goes, and that's because the thicker side of the W, so that side is the left hand side, but we could easily put it that way around, but to have the font consistent, that's how it goes. Put that onto there. The sizing was pretty good actually, wasn't it, for these letters? Remember at the start when I sized it all? So again, this is a bit strange actually, me saying that the font needs to be consistent, so I would have thought that the thicker side would have been that, but it's not, it's the thin side on this one on the left, so that's why it's a good idea to have your design on the screen. I mean, if you don't really worry about that, that's entirely up to you. I do like it to be how I've designed it. Okay. The O goes that way with the thicker side on it. So it's just the A that's a bit strange. Okay. Now I've just noticed that this piece of pennant has got a little bit of a fuzz on it. I always call it a fuzz, and all it is just a piece where the Cricut hasn't quite cut it as crisp as we'd like. So just grab a knife and just cut that bit off so that it's nice and smooth again. Those are the two that are going to have the bats on them, and they are the third ones in from either side. So we're going to stick him on here, and then this one is going to go on the top there. And what you can do whilst you're looking at it is figure out, you don't have to put them exactly how you've got them on the screen. So like for the L, I've got it on the top there, and then for the E I've got it at the bottom, but you don't have to. Like if you're looking at it now and you're thinking, oh actually I don't know whether I like it like that, because it might clash with the drips there, so I might decide just to put him straight on that corner, which I think actually is better than having him all the way up there. So we can do it that way, and then this one here I'm going to put there so it's not on the L. On the computer screen I've got it here like this, so he's literally over the L, but I don't want to cover that L so much, so that's good. Let's do some glue on the back of this. Now you don't want to go too crazy because you don't want to end up covering up your bits there, so let's do that. And you know I've got the hole behind there for the string or the ribbon to go through. It's okay because we haven't put the glue so far up that it's right next to that hole, so when I'm stringing it I will use a needle to do it, and I'll be able to still get in there and it will look really really nice. So keep sticking my hand to my piece of transfer paper. Right, he's gonna go there, so we just want to put glue on his head, so just a little bit of glue around his head. Let's stick him on the corner. He's more or less touching that there. Let's make this tooth now for this little dude. So I'm just going to get a piece of this black. Let's stop the screen recording. So we've just got, this is the actual tooth that I found on the Cricut. So let's put it the way around that it should be. It might be a bit fiddly, but we don't need it to be too sort of perfect either. We just want to make it so it looks like a tooth. There we go, and then we'll just put it down to there, and that's that. Okay, so it's, I mean you can't probably see, it's a really really tiny piece, isn't it, but that is more or less the same sort of shape as what we've got on there now. Let's just glue that on, tiny bit of glue. My son has stolen my very thin-nosed my thin-nosed tweezers, because he's been making a model car and he's stolen my tweezers from my cricket box and he's been using that on his model car. Alright, so that is on there now. Let's just move that so it's in the right spot. That's perfect. Okay, so we've got all our bits now glued together. Let's just put the lid on this glue so that we don't clog our nozzle. Next thing to do then is to choose some ribbon or whatever to string this onto. You've probably seen me use this before. This is a raffia ribbon and it's one that I bought for Christmas stuff. This is just a red like paper raffia and it's going to be great for this, I think. So what I normally do is I will take that off there. What I'll do is get my ruler and I measure out 2.5 meters of this. So I just do it on a ruler. So 30, 60, 90, 1.2 meters, 1.5 meters, 1.8 meters. That's 2 meters to there, and then I'll do 30, 50. That makes it 2.5 meters. Because it's paper, I can just cut it with my craft knife, and then I can just put that to one side. Next, for stringing, I just use one of these tapestry needles, and this is one that I use for everything really. So all I'll do is just pop that through there. This might be a little bit more tricky than normal because it's a paper. I need to put some holes in my Dracula, and to do that I'm just going to do it by hand using this single hole punch. So all I'll do is just get that on there, and I'm just going to pop it on the inside of that black part of the coffin, and I just do it by hand, so it's relatively easy to do. Let's do it on this one as well. Then I can start stringing. So you want to string backwards, so you'll go this one and then it'll be the N that goes on next. So just going to string everything. Okay, and then we need to find our letters. So this is when we need to really sort of sort out which order it goes in. So that there we need an N. O, L, L, H and A, and then what we're going to do is just turn it upside down, because then I can get them the right way around. And all I do is just go in that side, so then the majority of my ribbon, thread, whatever, is at the back of there. A little bit of tape on that, must be from the so just thread everything together like this. Obviously this makes it so that it's going, obviously this does make it so that it's going to be adjustable, is the word I'm looking for. So if you want to move the lettering around and stuff, it does make it easier to do that. The cardstock, by the way, that I've used for this particular garland is from Hobbycraft. It comes out of the red was out of one of their premium card packs, so you get 200 sheets of paper and it's £11, and it's really good quality paper. It cuts well. I always find it cuts really smoothly on the machine as well, which is great. I'm not worrying too much about placement of these, you might have noticed. For now I'm just getting them onto the string, and then what I'll do when I take it outside to take the photographs to go on Etsy and the photographs for like the thumbnail and stuff for this video, then I'll arrange the layout of the pieces exactly right. So obviously now I'm coming up to this one where the bat is at the top, so I'm going in the top like I did with all the others, and then I'm coming out on the other side, so I'm going to go just through the back here and just lift that out slightly. The glue's dried, it dries really quickly, and then can just pull that through. It's a little bit tricky because I'm using the double piece through the needle, but that is perfect. Nearly went the wrong way then. Okay, and then the H, we've still got a little dot in there. And then the last thing to go on, of course, is our other little Dracula guy, and he will just go on the end, like that. And then we'll just carefully take that needle off of the raffia. Now this is ready to go outside, and we'll put it on the wall, and then we can adjust it and take some pictures. Now that I've finished the banner, I just bring it outside and hang it up. I've got a couple of points out here where I can string it up from, and then I can just have a quick look and check everything's good, take some photos, and then I'm able to list it on Etsy. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and that you found it useful. If you have, don't forget to drop me any questions, comments, and hit the like button, and I will see you again soon for another video. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.